10 minutes up here, so when something bad happens, we always, have a moment of so silence. And I figured, well, maybe I could kill 8 minutes because our hockey team, Buffalo, Islanders, and Rangers, didn't do very well this year, so maybe we could just have 8 minutes of silence. But everybody I meet that don't know me, and they say, why did you play the way you did? And it was just, I guess, my personality. I've always felt I've been a very lucky person. December 12th, 1950, I was born, so that's the first time I was lucky. And then, as it came, my mother was the best athlete in our family. I got a piece of that. My dad, at the age of 16, jumped on a boat in Belfast and came to Canada. Irish, so I got a lot of that. So maybe that's part of my problem. I don't know. But I had 2 older brothers and a sister. Both my brothers were much better hockey players than me. But we had a rink in our backyard, and I wanted to play defense too because they were both defensemen. But after being run over for about 4 or 5 years by them, I figured I better take another position. So I went into goal. And I was lucky, I got to play, move up on the teams pretty quick. And then each one of my brothers went to Cornwall. And I was fortunate enough to get asked to go play my last year junior in Cornwall, which I was thrilled. The hockey team was awful, but I got to follow my brothers. But I was lucky. I met a very beautiful woman there. And I married her in '72, and we had 2 kids. So, like Joe says, she raised the kids, the 3 of us. The 2 young ones and the oldest one. Fortunately for me, the 2 young ones left, but she's taken care of me for 52 years, so it's been pretty good for me. And then my luck continued. The Islanders drafted, the LA drafted me in '69. And you know what the draft is like, it's huge. Well, they drafted me in June, and I didn't find out till July. And they called me, and they said, congratulations. They didn't say for what. It just was an American call. Congratulations, you're drafted. I looked at my dad, and I said, Dad, are they allowed to draft Canadians in the United States? So when I finally found out what it was, I went to LA, and again, I said I'm lucky. I had Boo Landon and Jack Norris there, and the 3 of us are having a beer, and we're sitting there, and Jack Norris says, you and Boo are going to Springfield, I'm going back out to Phoenix. And I said, you and Boo are the 2 best goalies in training camp. He says, it doesn't matter. The other 2 guys are older, they'll be in LA. I said, that's crazy. But it's exactly what happened. So I go to Springfield with Boo Landon, and as I said, I'm lucky. Boo separated his shoulder in the first game and never came back. So now I'm first goalie. So I played the year in Springfield, and we were average. And this is what I talk about lucky and teammates. One of the kids in LA got mono and was sent down to Springfield with mono. This kid with mono was the best player in our hockey team. He got us not only into the playoffs, but we won the Calder Trophy in 13 games. We lost 1 game, and that kid was Butchie Gorman. So I'm going to jump way ahead to 1980. And Tori and me are talking, and I said, you know what, if we could ever get a guy like Butchie Gorman, I said, our team would be, better. 2 weeks later, we got Butchie Gorman. I thought, well, this is great, because Butchie and me were good friends and that. So we're out in Winnipeg, we're playing in Winnipeg, and my brother played for the Washington Capitals and Winnipeg Jets, and one of his teammates was Gordie Lane. So I'm in Winnipeg, I'm getting ready for the game, I go out, my brother calls me, and he says, Gordie Lane's available. I said, there's no way Gordie Lane is available. He says, yeah, he says, he just walked out on the Washington Capitals. And he said, you'll never come back. So I'm walking out with Tori, and I said, Tori, Bill, Gordie Lane's available. Tori says, there's no way. I says, I'm brother just told me. So he goes back in. 2 days later, we got Gordy Lane on our team. And this is just before going into playoffs. And then we get this big, lanky kid. You know, he won something that everybody said was special, something with the Olympics. And we get him coming in. So like I call him my six-pack. And the reason I've had such success is not because I played well. It was, I had Kenny Morrow, Dennis Potvin, Gordy Lane, Dave Langeman, Stephen Pearson, and Tommy Johnson. I mean, I'm here because of my D. They were unbelievable. And if they didn't knock them down, I really think that's the way you look at it. Our forwards were outstanding, but you know, like I said, with my D, they should all be in here, not me. And I feel the same way about the Hall of Fame in Toronto. I mean, you have no idea how good Butchie Gordy was. I mean, he actually won the Calder Trophy for us. He won MVP first year, 4 Stanley Cups, you know, and that's how teams survive. And our team won what we did because we had 16 guys that did everything together. So, like you say, I always laugh when somebody says, oh, Bobby Nystrom was on the third line. And I says, well, maybe you guys should look at how many big goals Bobby Nystrom scored. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I probably have a second or two. I can tell you a couple of things that happened. We played the Boston Bruins, and we had one huge bench clearing. It was unbelievable. It was a lot of fun, but it was unbelievable. that means I didn't get beat up too bad. But we're in the dressing room the next day, and everybody here that has played, and you look and you go, oh, I sure hope that guy doesn't grab me. You know, if I get in a fight, I want to get Butchie Goring or something like that. So, second game in Boston, we're all sitting in the dressing room together, and you could tell there was tension. And Bobby Nice stood up and he says, "I got this guy." Then Clark Gillies gets up, "I got O'Reilly." Gary Howard stood up, "I got Cashman." And it just went down the list like this. And sure enough, within 5 minutes, Bobby Nye's out there, he's in a fight. All of a sudden, our momentum went from here to here. And Boston's looking at us and saying, "What's wrong with these sick people?" They expected it from me, but not the rest of the people. But I played the way I did. I always thought of myself as Santa Claus. I'd rather give than receive. So that's what I tried to do as much as I could. And the fights and everything else, like, I wouldn't last in the game today. I'd be suspended or arrested or something. But that was my personality. Like James knows, that's my personality. That's how much I loved it. And like I said, I became a human being as soon as I got off the ice. But thank you very much for being here and listening to me. All these great athletes, I'm very pleased to be with you. And thank you. And now you can go have a drink. Have a good one.
To introduce Billy, like the way Sam
So, as a couple of afterthoughts,